What secret was revealed when cleaning out the home of a deceased family member? I thought I was just clearing out old boxes, until I found an unmarked envelope with $24,000 and a note that said, "Make it right." Working as a building manager for an apartment complex wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. The elderly woman in one of the units kept to herself, always nodding politely when we passed in the hallway, but never stopping to chat. The other tenants called her the ghost lady, because she barely made a sound and rarely left her apartment. When she passed away last month, no one came to collect her things. Protocol said I had to clear out the unit after 30 days, so the landlord could rent it again. The apartment was neat and sparse with just the essentials and no photos anywhere. It was like she'd been living as minimally as possible all these years. Then I found the shoebox under her bed. Inside were yellowed newspaper clippings, some dating back to the 1970s with headlines about local bank funds missing and a woman questioned in an embezzlement case. According to the articles, she had been accused of stealing money from the bank where she worked, but nothing was ever proven. Beneath the clippings was a sealed envelope containing stack after stack of $100 bills, totaling exactly $24,000, with a single note written in shaky handwriting, "Make it right." I sat on her bed staring at the money for hours, thinking about my own kids' college tuition coming up next year. But that note kept haunting me, so I checked her rental application and found an emergency contact listed, her niece. The funeral happened that weekend with only about 10 people attending. The niece gave a brief generic eulogy that could have been about anyone, and afterward mentioned she'd stop by next week to pick up whatever was worth keeping. She explained that family gatherings were awkward, since her father never let go of the bank scandal where her aunt supposedly stole money and ruined the family name. The next day, I visited an elderly neighbor who'd lived in the building almost as long as the deceased tenant. She revealed that the woman once confided she'd been framed for something terrible by her own brother, who took everything from her, including her reputation. Going back through the newspaper clippings, I noticed the deceased had been the head teller, while her brother, the branch manager, had more access and opportunity. Further research uncovered a small follow-up article showing the brother had been quietly let go from another bank years later for financial irregularities. When the niece returned, I showed her the clippings and my discoveries, followed by the envelope of money and the note. Her face went pale as she touched the cash with trembling hands. I then handed her another envelope I'd found taped to the bottom of the dresser drawer. Inside were letters, cards, and graduation announcements the niece had started sending after she turned 18, reaching out against her father's strict orders. The aunt had kept every single one, though she never responded, maintaining the wall her brother had built between them. The final piece was a note in the aunt's handwriting explaining the money was for her great-niece's education, to make right what her brother did to their family name. The niece broke down sobbing and confessed she'd found records after her father died, proving he stole the money, but never publicly cleared her aunt's name, letting her live with that shame her entire life. Her secret correspondence had been an attempt to build a bridge that her aunt could never bring herself to cross. In the end, the niece established a small scholarship fund in her aunt's name at the local community college for women rebuilding their lives. 6 months later, I fixed the long-neglected building maintenance issues and started a community garden in the courtyard, thinking daily about the woman who spent decades quietly saving to make something right that was never her fault to begin with.